So every once in a while, I'll be browsing through YouTube and I'll stumble across something that's different, something unique that really captures my attention, and that is the case with the person who inspired today's video. That is Austin Paul. If you've never heard of Austin Paul, he's a filmmaker based in California, and he has a really unique way of capturing product videos using gear that is pretty on par with the kind of stuff that I'm using. Now, please go check out Austin's channel and watch his popcorn product video. It's absolutely incredible. And with that being said, let's go ahead and start filming a video all about Cheerios. We're gonna begin with the hardest shot, at least I think it's gonna be the hardest shot, and that is the box flying through the air in slow motion with Cheerios just exploding out. So what we've got here is a box of Cheerios on a light stand, very basic setup. We're just using some painter's tape because I'm all out of gaff tape, as you can see. This works just fine. We've got it taped to the back of the box. And all I'm gonna do is just position this box in the center of the frame here on my Sony a7 III. I'm gonna punch into 35 millimeters. To make the shot a little bit more interesting, we've got the Falcon Eyes RX178. It's a flexible LED matte, has RGB, so we're gonna turn it on and it's already set to blue. I'm just gonna place it on the floor here, angled up at our backdrop like so. That's gonna make our gray backdrop appear a little bit more blue. Now all I'm gonna do is loosen this knob here on the light stand. I'm gonna make sure that the box of Cheerios is in the center of the frame, and then I'm just gonna start rotating. And I'm just gonna do this a few times to make sure that we've got enough takes. I think one of those takes should be pretty good, so I'm just gonna end the clip here, and then we're gonna move on to the hard part, which is throwing the Cheerios in the air and hopefully getting an explosion. A little bit of a mess. Now, I did have a little bit of trouble on the practice rounds. We did use an expired box of peanut butter chocolate Cheerios. Making trips to the grocery store is a little bit tough. Please don't waste food. I'm doing this for the sake of education. I actually spoke to Austin Paul in an Instagram video and asked for some tips, and he said if I use a board or some kind of tray to throw the Cheerios up, I'll get a much better result because they'll kind of spread out. So hopefully that helps. I hope this works, because this is all we got. For this shot, we're gonna put the Cheerios on a baking sheet. I'm gonna be ducking under the camera here. I just gotta figure out, like, maybe I need to sit. Ow. I think that should be good.
Okay. You can see the pan though.
Sarah raises a good point. She says, Daniel, but you're gonna see the pan in the shot. But no, we're gonna mask that out in post, so we don't have to worry too much about that, as long as it stays at the bottom of the frame. Okay, we got 120 frames per second, 1/250 shutter, f2.8, ISO, let's go 500. In 3, 2, 1. That might work. I don't want to waste more Cheerios. That was only like a third of the bag. We still got a ton left. So I'm gonna fire all this up on the computer, try to edit it, and we'll see how it looks. To pull off this effect, we needed 3 different shots, starting with a clean plate, just of our backdrop with nothing in front of it. After that, we of course got the shot of our Cheerios box on the light stand spinning around slowly. This was done in 120 frames per second so that I could slow it down to 20% of its original speed, giving us a nice smooth rotation. And finally, we have the shot of the Cheerios being thrown into the air, also at 120 frames per second. Once we combine all 3 shots and keyframe the different movements, it will look something like this. And after keying the shots, adding a few masks, and doing some color grading, we get a final shot that looks like this. Make sure to head over to Austin Paul's channel to see a detailed breakdown of how to pull off an effect like this in Adobe products, but if you'd like me to do one for Final Cut, let me know down in the comments below, and I will do one in the upcoming weeks. So I guess you could say this is my entry into the James Matthews spin shot challenge. What I'm gonna try and do is spin the box of Cheerios, which is actually empty, using a screw which I put through this IKEA tabletop. As you saw, when I tried to spin the empty box, it just kept tipping over. So what I actually did was took a few pieces of sticky tack that I had laying around and stuck it to these flat marbles. I did 4 of these, just like so, and stuck them into each corner of the inside of the bottom of the cereal box. Now when we place it onto our screw. Okay, all right. 3, 2. right now we're gonna get the shot where the Cheerios are pouring out of the box. We're using the Laowa 60mm macro lens, and I wanna make sure that the Cheerios look nice and sharp coming out of the box, so we're shooting with a shutter speed of 1/500 at 120 frames per second. And I have an idea of what I want this to look like in my head, so hopefully it works out that way. Using the scissors right now to set focus, because that should be roughly where the Cheerios are falling. Ready? Go. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Three, two, one. Okay, stop. Now you might have noticed that I'm wearing something different in almost every shot in this behind the scenes, and that's because this was shot over the span of like 5 days. To be honest, I didn't really know what direction I was taking with this video. I wasn't even originally planning to do a full Cheerios mock commercial, but after trying that first cereal box explosion shot, I figured might as well keep rolling with it and see what else I could do at home, and this is what I came up with. The last shot I filmed was actually the very first shot of the video, and that was the stop motion of the Cheerios on the table. To do this, I just used my camera on an overhead stand with a remote trigger and receiver, and this is what the final result looked like. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little behind the scenes of how I shot a mock Cheerios advertisement here in my dining room of my house. The whole point of this exercise was to challenge myself and see what I could come up with being here at home with a limited amount of gear compared to what I would normally be able to rent or use at a studio. But all in all, it was a fun experiment. I think the end result turned out pretty well. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at Daniel.Schiffer. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video.